What's going on, everyone? We have a whole lot to talk about today for the stock market. There was some huge news with Apple as they are getting sued by the Department of Justice. The stock lost $115 billion worth of market cap today. It was a nasty one, so we're definitely going to dive deep into this. But at the same time, believe it or not, 75% of stocks ended up rising today in the S&P 500. And when you look at the heat map, it surely doesn't seem that way, especially looking at how red Apple, Google, Tesla, AMD, and a couple other pretty big stocks were. So we have a lot to talk about on that side of things as well. And the market actually made another new all-time high, which would make it its 20th all-time high for the year. On top of that, we have important earnings to cover with Nike, FedEx, and Lululemon, and of course, Reddit's brand new IPO. We have a loaded video today, and we have some pretty awesome setups brewing right now. We should be set for a pretty good end to the week. So make sure to watch all the way to the end, and let's end this week with a bang. So with that being said, Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, Mike, the S&P 500 did very well, ran up to new highs, like you said, and got all the way up to 524 before rejecting back down. So I'm going to actually place a pretty big resistance line up there. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to be too bullish until it ends up breaking that 524 high, because there was a lot of negative activity with Apple today. There was an antitrust lawsuit announced by the DOJ, and you can see that this made Apple sell off in a major way, and it even pushed the SPY back down a little bit after it made those highs. So it made for kind of a choppy day for the SPY, but I know a lot of people were capitalizing on Apple puts after they saw that news. But Mike, we talked about a few different anti-competitive practices that Apple has done in the past. With Spotify, they actually were not allowing them to advertise because obviously Apple has Apple Music, right? They don't want Spotify to be able to advertise that they're cheaper and everything like that and certain deals. So there were things like that going on. Obviously, Apple makes it hard for people to switch phones. There's a lot of different things out there, Mike, that Apple does that it's starting to worry people, right? You know, they're creating kind of a monopoly in a way, and it's definitely not looking good for Apple in the short term.
Yeah, the stock got shredded today, and some of those Apple put options that expire tomorrow popped up by over 2,300% today. So that was pretty crazy. But long story short, Apple has been doing a lot of things over the years that makes it pretty hard for, developers and just outside parties to really succeed using Apple's infrastructure. For example, there was one example with a company that was trying to make like a tracker device similar to the Apple AirTag, and Apple wouldn't allow them to access like the iPhone sensors and just things like that. So they basically prevented them from making a product, and then Apple just made that product and made a bunch of money off of it. And there's a million different examples in ways in which Apple kind of screws other parties. And obviously a lawsuit like this definitely does present some risk to Apple, and that's why the stock is getting shredded. So keep a close eye on this one in the short term. If we see continued negative sentiment surrounding it, and if Apple ends up losing this suit, that can be pretty tough for the company. And I've heard even some parties calling for like a breakup of Apple as well. But either way, it's definitely not good news.
Man, a breakup of Apple, that sounds really rough, Mike. And I know that looking at Apple for tomorrow, heading off of the price action today, it was rough. It was down 4%. This is Apple, right? They don't usually fall 4% like this. I'm looking at a big support in the short term at $170. And you know where we're going to see this also is on the book map. But before we go there, I'm going to draw a couple arrows, show you some of these bounces that we've seen in the past. But going to the book map, that 170 area is huge. Towards the end of the day, there was actually 378,000 shares stacked up right at that 170 mark. So if you're looking to be bearish on Apple tomorrow, make it break below 170. It might even break below there in pre-market. We'll have to see, but I'm definitely going to make 170 break, Mike. That is a major spot. There's a ton of buyers stacked up, and who knows? Well, sometimes whenever stocks go down 4%, they hit off these levels and bounce back slightly, but I'm definitely going to keep my eyes there because as we can see, that is obviously like the most major spot in the short term.
Yeah, you gotta love that X-ray vision too with Bookmap. So good stuff there. But another stock that had a lot of action today was Reddit. So they are a brand new stock on the market. They just IPO'd today. They were set to start trading at $34 a share, and they actually started trading at $47 a share. And TradingView's charts are showing that they ran all the way up to highs of like $57 a share. So there was some pretty good price action with this one today. We do see a lot of volatility and crazy movement with new IPOs, but I'm going to be honest with you, Tom, I'm not really seeing like enough hype with this one to really justify watching it like too closely.
Yeah, exactly. Some of these IPOs are better than others, and maybe it will start to move better over the next few days and few weeks, and I will keep it on the radar over that time just in case we do start to see some better activity with it. But today was kind of lackluster for me. I was expecting a little bit more volatility out of it, and we really need to see those options come on the market, right? You know, we all love the options out there.
Exactly. So we will see. But another crazy thing we have to talk about is how the market just keeps on marching higher. So today was actually the 20th new all-time high of the year. As we can see on this chart right here, I know it technically says 19, but that was as of yesterday's data. But you can see that historically speaking, when the market goes on these runs where it makes new all-time highs, it tends to do it for a decent amount of time. 2021 had 70 new all-time highs. 2017 had 62 new all-time highs. 1995 had 77 new all-time highs. But to be fair, there have also been years where there were only 10 new all-time highs, or 18, or 35. So it's pretty spread out. But yeah, the market's momentum just keeps on rolling.
Yeah, and I mean, look at that. There's even a lot of years where there were 0 all-time highs. I actually can't believe how many zeros I'm seeing on the chart, which is, I guess it makes sense, though, whenever you get a little crash coming in, but you're definitely right. Like, whenever these runs start to happen, it's pretty good. So we're on the 20th one now. Where are we going to end up, right? Hopefully it's up in, like, the 30 or 40 range, and we're seeing a lot of stocks blast off right now. You know, we're seeing SPY run up, and I know that today was kind of rough for these tech stocks as the day went, but, like, Microsoft closed up very well, and we did have a lot of stocks green, as we saw in the heat map earlier. What do you say, 75% of the stocks were green, even though there were some big players that were red?
Exactly. So good stuff there, but we also have to touch on some of the big earning stocks of the day. So we have Nike, which has been all over the place in after hours. So keep a close eye on this one. There's not too much hype with it, but FedEx has been rocketing in after hours. So definitely make sure to keep a close eye on this one for tomorrow. And at the same time, Lululemon is getting woodshedded. So keep a close eye on this one, but to the downside.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Lulu. You know, shares fall on weak guidance, and it's one of the worst earnings reports that we're seeing tonight, obviously. The other two are looking a lot better, so rip to Lulu, but I will be watching FedEx very closely, Mike. That run up to $300 is nuts right now. You know, of course, it's starting to fall down right there at that whole dollar level.
All right, and then last but not least, we also have to touch on tomorrow's economic schedule. We do have 2 Fed speeches from Barr and Bostic at noon and then 4 p.m. Eastern time. So keep this in mind. But realistically, these sort of events don't really compare to when the big man Jerome Powell speaks. So Tom, besides that, I think we're all in the clear for some setups and predictions for tomorrow. I know we talked about this stock a ton already, but there's a lot of action going on with it, and that is Apple. So it's pretty rare to see, Apple down 4% in a day, and on top of that, it has some pretty substantial news behind it. So there's not necessarily a specific dollar level I'm watching for it, because this stock can move a ton based off of pre-market and after-hours data. But really what I'm ultimately looking for is the same level of price action that we saw today. I want to see constant pressure on the low of day, and I don't want to see this stock, pop up too much intraday. Like I said, just like we saw today, assuming we continue to see this level of price action, I would love to play Apple to the downside and, just ride this wave of selling pressure.
Yeah, and like we talked about earlier, Mike, there's that big level at 170 on the book map, 332,000 shares stacked up right there. So if we get under there tomorrow, I think that the floodgates could start to open. And like you said, if we see that constant pressure on the low of day like we did today, man, the put players are going to be extremely happy. I saw some insane gains in the Discord today, like 700% plus on one of them. So looking at, though, Apple for tomorrow, Mike, with my next play, I'm looking at Citigroup. The banks are actually doing very well in the short term. Citigroup ended up closing up around highs, which is insane to say considering how the overall market did. But if they end up breaking that high of day around 61.55, I will look for a continuation. These bank stocks are on a crazy run.
Alrighty. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely right now is Barrick Gold, which is ticker symbol GOLD. So gold prices have been moving in a pretty great way over the past couple of weeks. And Tom, we've been talking about them quite a bit. But looking at GOLD, it's moving higher. The price action has been pretty good today. I mean, it wasn't anything like too crazy, but it's been pretty good overall. And I'm definitely looking at this one for a continued move to the upside. I would love to see it break above that like $16 resistance and then continue higher. If it does break that, the next important level is $16.25. And if it breaks that, it can just keep on going. But there's a lot of good price action and a lot of bullish flows happening with gold, silver, and just all companies like, related to those precious metals. So keep a close eye on this one to the upside.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. We're seeing all the stocks in the market running up. We're seeing gold and metals running up too. It's like, wow. Well, everything besides Apple, I should say. So, and actually my next play, which is AMD, they've been actually seeing a lot of downside pressure in the short term as well. But I'm watching this one as more of a setup, based off of support and resistance. I'm really watching this key support here in the short term, right around 177. If we end up falling under 177 with AMD tomorrow, I will look at puts to the downside, but I'm also watching this for a possible support bounce. Like if we do see, a nice move back up and another re-break of 180, then I will maybe start to turn towards calls because I am going to really honor this support and just play, what the market gives us based off of what reaction comes off of that level.
All right, love to see it. Well, it's now about that time for today's momentum plays, and with the first one, we have SQ to the upside.
Yeah, this was a very fun stock today, Mike. And looking at it for tomorrow, I'm going to look for a break above 84.25, right above that intraday resistance.
All right, with the next one, we have a big tech powerhouse, which is Netflix, and it's actually to the downside.
Yeah, ticker symbol NFLX had a really rough day today. Looking for them tomorrow. There was a pretty good support lately, right around 621. So if we break under that and then 620, I will look at puts.
All right, and then with the last one, we have TLT to the downside.
Yeah, TLT ended up having a pretty crazy day today. Kind of choppy. If it ends up moving back under 92.90, then look at puts.
Alrighty, so we have the downside level for TLT and Netflix, and then we have the upside level for SQ. We are watching these three stocks for potential day trades tomorrow, if and only if they break through the levels Tom listed. For Netflix and TLT, we want to see moves down, but they are only plays if they break below those levels, and the same goes with SQ, but to the upside. So keep a close eye on these three stocks for tomorrow, but we can't move on any further until we check out today's $1.7 million big money trade of the day. And we are looking at ticker symbol XME. So XME is a metals and mining ETF. Again, with these metals, Tom, there's been a lot of flows with them. But basically, today we saw the big money take a bullish trade on XME. More specifically, they bought a call debit spread. I know it sounds complicated, but just wait like 30 seconds and I'll break it down in a nice and easy way. But the big money is betting $1.7 million for XME to move to the upside. They bought the 62 strike call options and shorted the 67 strike call options. both of which expire on June 21st of 2024. The higher XME goes, the more they'll make. They want XME to at least go above $62 a share. The higher the better, though. If you don't want to trade a spread and you just want to keep your life nice and simple, consider just following the 62 strike call options for June 21st of 2024. I really like this setup, but I'm going to say it straight up that if you follow this, you have to give it the time it needs. These options have all the way out until basically the end of June. So if you think you're going to day trade this tomorrow, that would be a mistake. Like with big money trades, you have to give them the time that they need because that's the only way to truly take advantage of the information at hand. But I'll tell you, Tom, I'm very excited to see how this one progresses, and I'd love to see gold prices and other precious metal prices continue to move like they have been.
I really would too. I also like the way the chart's setting up. We're seeing nice bounces off support. We're seeing a lot of good flows across the whole market and metals as well, which is awesome with gold making highs. Like, it can't get much better than that for these miners. So I'm really going to watch this one, Mike. I like this big money play quite a bit. You know, like Mike said, if you guys don't want to play a spread, maybe just look at the 62 strike calls or the 60 strike calls or something along those lines. But I really like the way it's setting up on the chart, and a lot of stocks are coming up off these recent dips, and looks like XME and the metals are just another one.
Here we go. So obviously we only have one more day left for the week, so let's make it count. When we go into the market tomorrow, obviously keep your heads up high, keep those stop losses in place, and as always, follow the money, follow the flows. Today it was an Apple bloodbath all day long, but there were also a lot of good moves from other stocks like AVGO to the upside and a handful of others. If you guys are new to the channel, consider demolishing that subscribe button to get our videos recommended to you more often. We post brand new videos all the time. In each video, we cover big money, multi-million-dollar trades like this XME one from today. We cover the most important news. We cover charts you won't find anywhere else, and we try to basically let you know everything you need to know about the market in like a 20 to 25 minute video or less. Consider demolishing that subscribe button and joining the Stocked Up crew. But we also have to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Change, in the Stocked Up Discord. Huge shout out to you. You can see his great post today where basically it's his first time into trading options, and it was definitely a good one, and he had a lot of positive things to say. So huge shout out to you, Change. Keep up the great work, and we would love to see more posts like this from you in the future. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already heard this by now, but we just started a brand new sale for the Stocked Up trading floor. We very rarely do sales, so when we do them, it's important to strike on them. But basically, if you're into short-term trading, there's no better program out there. You get full access to our army of trading robots. You get access to our live events, the big money trades before they're posted every day, a private trading community, and a ton of other bots that you will not find anywhere else. Today was an especially explosive day in the Stocked Up trading floor, as there was a handful of just amazing plays. Some SMCI call options from SurgeBot popped up by 134%. Some AVGO call options popped up by 114%. We had SPY put options pop by 33%. We had a loser with Coinbase too. You know, we're definitely going to highlight that as well. But overall, it was just a great day with a lot of great opportunities in both directions. We have an army of trading robots, and that's something you won't find anywhere else. So consider joining the Stocked Up trading floor using coupon code BIGMONEY to save on the annual plan. Again, we don't do sales like this that often. But besides that, Tom, I'm pretty excited for the end of the week. We're seeing some pretty big moves in both directions, and I'm excited.
Yeah, me too, Mike. There's some pretty insane movement going on, and I feel like that the uptrend's not necessarily over yet. You know, Apple's putting a lot of downforce on the overall market, in my opinion. I feel like the SPY would have had a really great day today if Apple obviously didn't have that bad news, but I'm going to keep looking at that 524 resistance. I'm not going to be too bullish on SPY until that breaks. There could be opportunity to maybe play it up into that level, but until we break that tomorrow, I'm not really going to trade SPY too much. I'll just stick with the individual stocks that are moving, you know, like AVGO or even like the SQ momentum play today.
Sounds good. I will say Apple's going to be the most important stock to watch for tomorrow. The news with it is pretty big, and it's certainly not every day that you see a company as big as Apple down as much as it is. So keep a close eye on this one. Don't forget about the coupon for the trading floor, and then consider joining the Stocked Up crew by demolishing that subscribe button. Besides that, thank you all so much for watching, and let's end the week on a green note.